Yeah. 1 2 1 2. Check, check. You already know what it is. Morris MC. Yeah, yo. All praise due to Allah, no bow ties. On my tracks, rappers get the warp speed blow bars. Stay in my lane around corners, one man, no eyes, Cyclops Bay. Covenant not new like polites. Running a fraud, you paid 4,300, Lord, this in the legend. Typical coon and reverence, but people support getting played, robbed for birthrights. It's not about fiat, your energy quenches their thirst, right? Vampires and warlocks speak with finesse in their speech. Subconscious mind traps won't release, detecting a breach. They dissing their prophet, Drew Ali, they dissing their creed. Before you follow dirty Moors, listen to me. Every Moor is not your bro, most of them sold out. Ask Khalid, Malcolm, Shabazz, and the ones that know about getting stabbed in their back for talking about rights. Minus the civil, notwithstanding, like a cripple. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, the priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you. Middlemen come calling themselves prophets and God sense, claiming they're sovereign, following hillbilly nonsense, saying Moors are wrong, taking things out of context. Stupidity of conscious blacks is an inferior complex, following leaders that won't go with you off the cliff, lying about slavery and even about slave ships, robbing the ignorant, saying papers filed federal under the jurisdiction of attorney generals, claiming straw men for credit in a debt system. Yes, bonds from the treasury are really from the IMF. I am just saying what I see from the conscious, begging for donations while acting obnoxious with no solutions. 1,500 for service products that cost 50 cents to print. These black devils are off their rockers. They don't feel awkward giving state ID to coppers. Highwaymen think killing the bay is gonna stop us. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead. You better think nowadays, fam, use your head. The only savior is you, priesthood is dead.
We declare our rights on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary.
Black history month you find ridiculous.
You're gonna relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No,
Well,
come on. Tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not? Do you want one?
No.
No, I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
Right? And racism will be over. It's over. Stop calling him white. Stop calling yourself black. And stuff finished tomorrow. But we have a prophet that came. Prophet told us that, Moors love to learn at the point of a sword. That's how they love to learn. They don't want it easy. They want it to be hard for them. They want it to be hard.
So because they want a heart, they get a heart. It's okay. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna get what they're supposed to get based on what you did. Because instructions are laid down by the prophet. And, you know, people are gonna play like they don't know what they're supposed to do or whatever. They'll play like they don't know what this is about. Put the perspective out there that Moors are pro some political BS that's going on with some Europeans on our estate, ancestral estate. So certain things are laid down for us to do our own stuff. We're not getting anything from anybody. What's the church spending, whatever, of the black, whatever? Billions. How much are they spending on shoes and hair stuff and nails and whatever? Billions. So we got the funds. We got the funds to do what we're supposed to do as a nation. Are people going to do what they want to do? Probably not. So we're going to fend for ourselves. So Islam to all the Moors, declared, proclaimed, active, 720 Moors, Islam. Islam to all the Moors coming on board. Because, you know, we know what's happening. We got stuff going down right now with Moors. They're just coming in. They're just coming into the information. And then, as soon as they come into the information, somebody who they thought, you know, was governmental, whatever, coming at them because they start reserving their rights on stuff. Just that only. They never were face to face with a highwayman. They went in front of a judge because of something they found out, some information. They're going to try this out in court, see if it works. No, they're just living their life. They're studying. They say, if you're asking me sign right here, then that means I reserve my rights. They start reserving their rights. They're sitting down with president or whatever. Or whatever corporation that they dealt with, that they had to sign something, and they didn't want them to reserve their rights. There are people who right now, just coming into this information, are experiencing this. Well, guess what all they know is? All they know is that they're not black people. And if I'm going to claim something, I'm going to claim something that ties back to something I could relate to. These are the thinking, you know, the eyes wide open Moors, new Moors that are coming in. They already have a mindset of, they know that they're not black, they know that. And they know that they're Moors, but how do I be a Moor? And, well, I want to be a Moor. Right? So we want to make sure that you know and continue to know that certain people have obligations when it comes to this thing called Negro, black, colored people not calling themselves that and calling themselves Moors. Right? Noble Drew Ali, divinely prepared by the great God of the universe, to come and teach us that we're not Negro, black, colored people, we're Moors. And then based on that statement, you're either going to say, okay, whatever, or you're going to ask yourself, what the hell's a Moor? What are you talking about? And then when you go research, you realize what's good, you know what I mean, which leads you to here right now. Right? He made these statements for Moors to realize that this is their birthright. Now, just like you have Yahshua and the disciples and Muhammad and Buddha and Confucius and all the prophets going down the line that had their little crew around them that were supposed to do whatever, people sold out and then stuff went other ways. Noble Drew Ali had Moors around him that he was directly instructing on how this thing's supposed to run. Don't try to tear this up, because it'll tear you up. Why? Because this thing is already in motion. Right? If your sleeve gets in these gears, you're losing your arm. Simple. You roll up your sleeves or wear a short sleeve when you come around the Moorish movement. Because this is already moving. They stagnate this by getting Noble Drew Ali out the way. And then have people thinking that Moorish Science Temple is some religious whatever. Now keep in mind, regardless of whatever is said about Noble Drew Ali, always use your five senses, because he told you make sure you use your five senses. Any other senses that you got, and come to your own conclusion when it comes to certain things. Make sure you, for yourself, knows, so that way you're not going to be moved off your foundation. And then when you have multiple people with this foundation, then now you have a plebiscite. Because everybody's foundation is the same. Right now, the Moors' foundations aren't the same. Because many Moors chased after guys after the Prophet and just have the Prophet as a picture on the wall. Just have the Prophet on the front of a book. Yeah, the Prophet honors the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and praise Allah. Not recognizing that because he was assassinated, and there's, it's not like this is freedom of information, whatever. All the information is there. Who, after Noble Drew Ali died, was the successor and all that. Where this thing was supposed to go. What the Moors had. Everything's available information. I know I should be debating about what did Moors have, what did Moors do in America. Documented facts of what Moors did here. Right? So he had these individuals around him, trained them a certain way. Some of them didn't really like that stuff. They want to do their own thing. Because they've been wanted the fame and nobility that Noble Drew Ali had. That he took and gave to the Moors. And then they were supposed to take it and then give it to the Moors. And then they were supposed to take it and give it to the Moors. And then what we inherit after all those Moors do what they're supposed to do at Noble Drew Ali, like, there wouldn't be no 50 billion and no hair and church. Believe that. Right? Everything would have been back where it was supposed to be, just like when it was in Grenada. Because again, when you go check the record and you get Brother Samuel's book, right? Moorish Pensacola, Moorish Florida, you realize exactly what Noble Drew Ali was doing. Re-establishing. Everything was done. Imagine that the work that Noble Drew Ali did bankrupted the U.S. Corporation in 1929. And then Moors in 2017 are telling Moors to go get licenses from them. And don't reserve your rights or nothing like that. Just go get a license from them. When those are the people that Noble Drew Ali bankrupted, they're going to them for a license. And don't want to do what they're right. To travel. That when you ask them about right to travel, they're going to bring up planes. They're going to bring up trains. They're going to bring up horses. They're going to bring up balloons, blimp, zeppelin, whatever. They're going to bring up all these stuff. But they never put car in there. They never put conveyance in there. Never, ever do they say right to travel via conveyance. They'll say walk. They'll say boat. They'll say horse. They'll say camel. They'll make jokes about what you could right to travel with, but they'll never mention car. You stop BS about you need a license to drive. We're not talking about driving. We're talking about traveling. Well, travel is whatever. Okay. Let's see who's violating the prophet or who's going with what Noble Drew Ali said. But again, remember that, Kudrow's hoverboards, right? They could right to travel on hoverboards, but then are we going to bring up car? Right? Keep in mind that, the reason why Kudrow's a dirty Moor or whatever to these certain Moors is because Kudrow has the inside information of Moor Science Temple because I'm a Grand Sheik. These guys are mad. Which is what the Grand Sheik, who made me Grand Sheik, told me that, hey, these guys are going to be mad that you're Grand Sheik. Told me. Why are you going to be mad? Is this about unity or whatever like that? What do you mean? Like, what's the big difference? Well, you're going to say Taj Tariq Bey and Nature L and Aleem Bey and certain people, and certain people just don't like those people. This is 07 or whatever. And then still got all the envelopes of just stuff. Just dealing with Moors in America that every Grand Sheik has. Keep in mind Mukarrabin files that they don't like to talk about. They're like, it's copywritten, you can't read that book, don't show that on videos and stuff like that. Okay. It's copywritten. Because there's inside info. The Noble Ali said, I'll tell you some things that will turn your brain to water. Like, that's not just some talking about some stuff. There's information with regard to Moorish movement that you find out that these people did what they did to your birthright. Like your birthright. Not Moor Science Temple's birthright. Not Noble Drew Ali's birthright. Not Moors of Alhambra birthright. Your birthright. You realize how important it is to make sure you stand up for your stuff. And let nobody punk you off for your lunch. Or your lunch money. For some papers. To make you a Moor. But this is your birthright. Again. Noble Drew Ali told certain Moors certain things that they were supposed to tell everybody because priesthood is dead. They didn't tell. They kept stuff in chambers called Adep, third heaven stuff and all that. Get secret badges and pendants and stuff like that. Running lodge, running Prince Hall with Moor Science Temple. And then Drew Ali back then told him, new Moors are going to come with eyes wide open. Then Moors came with eyes wide open. They didn't really pay no attention. You know what I mean? Then Moors came with eyes wide open. Those are dirty Moors. Those are renegade Moors. Those sovereign citizen Moors, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's no different than BT and all those people, how they think that the people are stupid. They really think that the people are stupid and that all the people are done with their BS. Well, it's the same thing with these Moors who want to play around like people don't have certain rights, want to denationalize you. Because once they violate your right, they denationalize you. Because that's the only way they can have jurisdiction to violate the right. Or if you don't stand up for it. If you know that you exercise right to travel, you beat tickets. If you know that every single time you stop a highwayman or you're stopped by a highwayman, he tells you, keep traveling, have a nice day. You need to start talking up about your stuff to shut up these people who want to see stuff. You Moors who been to court, so-called court, administrative building, and because I know one thing, I know for a fact that a lot of you Moors who got out of stuff, you got out of stuff because they gave you a gag order. I know. They have to give you a gag order. They gag order the Free National, or did they gag order the straw? If they gag ordered the straw, so if you know that you have something, and we got a couple ones that we're going to put on the record because some more sent some emails, right? But their experience exercising their birthright. Since people want to think this ain't nothing and this don't work and you have to go through some $5,000 process to be a Moor, when these are just people, they already got their life. They already been schooled and all that stuff. They already got their degree, they got their salary and all that stuff. And they're still saying, hold on a second, I was going to RBA publications or whatever. And they said something about rights and, you know, so I checked out rights and, you know what I mean, religion falls under rights. So religion falls under rights, and then, you know what I mean, this European at my work or whatever, he's like, hey, I need time off work, you know, because, you know, I have a religious conference to go to. And the European got time off. So, you know, Moore, who's working as a straw, right, has a job and pays the taxes and whatever like that, right? Wanted some time off, you know what I mean? Time off, you know, religious right, whatever stuff. Little do you know that they call him into a meeting. No different than the Moors who reserve their rights, you know what I mean? Just, you know. Why did they call him in a meeting for? Like European didn't, you know, like he works with European. Europeans say, yeah, I need time off, religious thing. Hey, all right, no problem, bam, bam, put out the dates that he wanted, all that stuff. No big deal. Then when the black guy goes, they pretend like rights don't exist. And what are rights? And UN declarations, what is that? And all that type of stuff. Right? Same type of game that these Moors, they pretend like they're incompetent. Well, let's put certain things on the record so that you can have a broader perspective of what Noble Drew Ali founded and what was really going on in Noble Drew Ali's time. Right? Because people's perspective is some religious BS. People's perspective is just be a good nigger with a fez on. Like, he brought us self-governance. He brought us make sure we have our own and fend for our own. Why? Because we have race pride and we love our race. Human race, human family. Why wouldn't we love the human family? But you know, much as it's a human family, everybody got their piece. Everybody has their jurisdiction. That you have a right to travel under the jurisdiction. Keep in mind that this is public record information. This is not information that you're not going to find online because, you know, say, but this is more science temple information or inside the adult chamber. No, this stuff didn't blown off of this. It's not. The adult information been out. It's out now. The Addep information is bigger than Moore Science Temple Addep Chamber. Way bigger. And everything was made public record by Noble Drew Ali that he did. And if he's making it public record, he had to have a newspaper. If he had a newspaper, those would have to be distributed so Moors weren't just in the temple. Moors had a newspaper. They were spreading the news about the Moors and Noble Drew Ali's program in this institution that had many sub-institutions, that had many different purposes. To all governors, grand sheikhs, and head officials of temples, by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has said the following thing during this our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship. No religion there. Remember, he's talking about convention right now, where all the Moors are going to be there. He's talking about Moorish Science Temple of America right now. He's not talking religion. He's not talking religion. Why is he talking about American citizenship? How come he's not talking about U.S. citizenship, USA citizenship? Why is he saying American? Right? Well, citizen, the national is the highest form of, yeah, when it's a multicultural jurisdiction, national is the highest. But if you're in your own jurisdiction, of course you're going to be a citizen of your own stuff. Why wouldn't you be a citizen of your own stuff? If you say an American, which is our own stuff, copper-colored, be here before the Europeans were here, because we had government here already. Well, we're citizens of that. We're not citizens of their stuff. We're citizens of our own jurisdiction. So we can be citizen in this. You can be servant in this. You could choose as a Moorish American to work under another Moor at he's the head, whatever of, and then you're getting a salary and all that stuff from him. Yeah, you know what I mean? But you know, hopefully it's stand up more so you don't have to lose your citizenship. When you go work there as a national, still get your full salary, no taxes and all that stuff. But make sure, you know, you got your dues and stuff paid, you know what I mean? Because you got to pay some type of taxes. Not, you know what I mean? You're not obligated to taxes from foreigners, but guarantee you're obligated to Moors taxes, especially if you say that you're a Moor. Because how else are you going to support your stuff if you don't pay your taxes? Moors? How's the stuff going to work for you if you don't pay your taxes, Moors? Because you're citizens of America. Remember, America is Morocco. So you're citizens of Morocco, really, not really American, really. It's really Moroccan citizenship that he's really saying to the Adepts. And then the Adepts supposed to tell the people, hey, nationality card is going to change in your pocket. You see that thing right there? That's not no membership BS. Come over here so we can get the picture on there and all that stuff, because these people are implementing their stuff in 33. Noble Drew Ali already told us new deals coming. So we got to make sure that all the Moors are taken care of. We already got the passports. We already got the licenses. We already got the insurance, whatever. We already got the social insurance numbers. We already got everything. They can have their new deal. We have our own stuff going on. We got manufacturing companies and all that. Matter of fact, we're about to have our first convention. The Moors, not just the Moors who are in Chicago right now, which is, thousands of Moors. We're talking about Moors that are going to be coming from everywhere else to here. This is way bigger than some Moor science temple that these people are making it seem like that's the all and be all what Noble Drew Ali brought. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has said the following thing during this our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship, as the Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states of North America on May 1st, 1916, as this will have been our very first convention and most interesting one ever held in this city. We're going to read all that again for all the people who thought Noble Drew Ali was just on some religious BS. Didn't realize that when he said president, he was president. When he said prophet, he was prophet. When he said noble, he was noble. You want to just throwing around stuff, like people throw stuff, yeah, just throw that on the nationality card. I'm noble. Noble Jamar. No, you can't be noble. Sorry, that doesn't go on nationality cards. Yeah, but I'm the noble of the... No. All right. Read this again. And really digest what's being said. Really take yourself, take it. Okay, you know what? Never did this one before. We'll do it this way. Right? We'll do it this way. Just remember the first line, right? The first line. Ignorance is contagious. Feathers and turbans, 1913, Moorish Jewish temples in Harlem before Contra stardom. Right. UNIA parade, garbly dressed Moorish as ever, admirals or amirs, catch them in the whirlwind forever. Alright, so a convention, right? Thousands of Moors from all over, right? Going to the first convention. By order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, like imagine being a Moor in those times and you get this. Remember, this is a newspaper going to all the Moors. So, you know what I mean? This is the, us on the stoop. You know what I mean? Moorish Guide came. Everybody has their Moorish Guide. You know what I mean? And we're reading the new issue of Moorish Guide newspaper. Right? Really be in this place back then. So you can digest the magnitude of what Noble Drew Ali brought for you. That this is not some club. This is not some building. The people tell you, when are you going to build something? Build what? There's nothing to build. Only thing to build is in the workshop of the mind. That's the only building going on. There's no building going on here. Goddamn buildings everywhere. You don't even need no more buildings. We need some grass. We should be tearing some of these down. We need trees. Forget building. This is Noble Drew Ali talking. In the newspaper, the national newspaper that went everywhere. To all governors, grand sheiks, and head officials of temples by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali has said the following thing during this our first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that the Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship, as the Moorish Divine National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states of North America. The Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states. What Asiatic states is he talking about of North America? What's he talking about? Asiatic states. Whoever you hear say that term before, find me somebody that could put, hey, our teacher said Asiatic states or whatever before. Nobody. Nobody has put that. All these Moors, USAR Moors, Amexem Empire Moors, all these different Moors that are claiming something other than the Moroccan Empire. You never ever heard them talk about Asiatic states. Ever. Why? Because they're not the prophet. They're false prophet. Try to take you away from your birthright. That you had Asiatic states that the prophet was the president of. Now the real deal is that the states were these temples. But these small-minded Moors in 1913 to 1929 couldn't grasp the magnitude of what he brought to them. That's why we're here. The Moors in Virginia just went to the Moorish colony. We got crescent stars and stuff like that on buildings. With grass growing out windows. But you know, these people been doing convention and stuff like that for the past 80 years. You got colony, a Moorish colony in Virginia, where everybody there is 300 pounds or whatever like that. Right? Smoking cigarettes and drinking rum and all that type of stuff. But they got crescent stars and all that stuff. And then talking about, well, Moors haven't come around here in forever. Last time we met with the Moors, they tried to take over. The people whose colony, the people who are on the actual colony, that is really their stuff. Moors trying to take their stuff. Opposed to working with them to make the colony be something. But now you got active Moors with their eyes wide open on the job, and something's going to get done with that colony. Finally, something's going to get done with that colony. And there's other Moors, you know, that remain nameless, that are working on stuff all over. What? The Asiatic states. Just go check the record. You're not going to find nothing. It's called Reconstruction of Your Moorish History. That they say American history, and then people, you know, look at some Europeans. You know, American history is your history that they reconstructed, got rid of all your stuff. Especially stuff relative to you and your prophet and what he brought. If he's gonna go get a flag and stuff like that from the president and all that, that they have hiding in some vault, in some chamber somewhere, then there must have been Asiatic states. And if there were Asiatic states, how come nobody's not mentioning nothing about the Asiatic states? All you Grand Sheik, I'm Grand Sheik, I didn't even know. How am I Grand Sheik and I don't know? I went to Arab Chamber and all that. I didn't know about no Asiatic states. How much stuff people been holding back with regard to what Noble Drew Ali brought for us Moors? And the ones who are classified Negro, black, colored or whatever today. Right? Now keep in mind, you know, I did go through the Arab Chamber on a weekend and all that stuff, so you know what I mean? You know, maybe some stuff wasn't able to get relayed, you know what I mean? Which is why, you know, it was imperative that no matter what, everything that was going in this ear was clogged up so nothing can't come out. Because, you know, we only had a weekend. It's just what it is. Right? So Asiatic states of North America, just keep that in mind, keep that as a reference point. You add to your writs and stuff like that because, you know, it's documented to all governors, grand chiefs, and head officials of temples. Did Noble Drawing say go to those and no law and all that? All right, no, we're going to those who know law. Noble Drew Ali in our city hall because, you know, he's telling us we had American states. So if we had American states, we had to have city hall as Moors. You're not talking going to some democracy or whatever like that. Go to their stuff. No, Jolly wasn't on no democracy. He was on self-governance. He was on Aboriginal Indigenous. We're the American citizens because we're the American states. We're the American states. According to the prophet, if you say that you ride with him, then, you know what I mean? Why are you getting licenses from U.S. Corporation? If there's an Asiatic state, Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the uniting of the Asiatic states of North America. Asiatic states? What do you mean by Asiatic states? Okay, I'll show you. It was featured by delegates from 15 different states, comma. Right, so you separate the jurisdictions now. So 15 different states, there was delegates from these Asiatic states, right? So, comma, what are these 15 states? Because he's not talking about some 50 stars on the Star Spangled Banner states. If he's talking about Asiatic states, because we know them 50 stars don't represent no Asiatic states. How come USAR is not claiming that they're one of the Asiatic states? Why are they claiming to be a republic if they got Asiatic state that they could claim to be? Why is the Mexican Empire not claiming Asiatic state? Why are they making up stuff? There ain't nothing to make up. Because again, if that was the case, he would have made up his own flag. Why did he go rummaging around and dig up some flag that they had in some vault? Because there's longevity tied to that flag. There's no longevity as far as identification cards are concerned. There's no longer longevity of a nationality card than Alodio nationality cards, CMB Clock of Destiny nationality cards, Washita nationality cards, Moorish Science Temple of America nationality cards, Moorish Temple of the Zionist Jews nationality cards. All those were tying you back to a nation. Everybody else is late and was feeding off those aforementioned. And again, the whole idea was to take away the civic perspective. The whole idea was to make you not know that there were Asiatic states, which means that this is not about some building called Moorish Science Temple. This is way more vast than Moorish Science Temple. Way more vast. Especially the way that these people who are in how majority of these people who are in the seats of power in so-called buildings called Moorish Science Temple of America run it. Because they're not running it like they're a state. They run like this, like some little club, come join the club, you know what I mean? And, you know. And our club is tied to U.S. in some kind of way, you know what I mean? When Juali was not playing democracy. He was dealing with self-governance. Moors, there were 15 different states of the Asiatic states that came to Prophet Noble Juali's convention. On top of the 15 different states, from local branch temples and subordinate temples, which have been established, right, for the uplifting of fallen humanity, period. Uplifting of fallen humanity means that somebody has to be taught in order for them to be uplifted. Because if they're not taught, they won't be uplifted. So, why is people doing all types of other stuff? Building stuff and all types of BS, opposed to uplifting their people. Because more is bigger than just this nationality. This is also spiritual, divine and national. So Islam to the Moors uplifting their people by inspiring them to be better than what they are. You know, it doesn't even matter if you say that you're Moor. You just be better tomorrow than you are today. Eventually we get to the Moor stuff. Obligation to make people have a nice day because they met a Moor. Moor made their day because of whatever it is that that Moor did. Just because of the obligation we have to uplift fallen humanity. It's an obligation. No. There's still a good bit yet. Do you need convincing that this is bigger than some Moorish Science Temple? Need more? Asiatic states should be enough. Asiatic states should be enough to strip this off and everybody's going to go do their Asiatic states research for the rest of class time. Forget class today. That's how broad this thing is. But we'll continue. During this, our first convention, in sessions specific of general work and civil accomplishments, were reported by the Grand Sheikhs of each branch temple and subordinate temple, as each Grand Sheikh was required to give a reporting of his temple and the governor, and in the continued growth and development of this divine movement. As each Grand Sheikh gave their report about the growth of business and enterprise, of the example of collective efforts, show that the members of the Moorish Science Temple of Americas and their leaders have enacted a sound economic program and are blazing the trail and marking the pathway over which our posterity can travel unhampered and unafraid. Thought Noble Juali didn't teach travel. Because if he's talking about our posterity traveling unhampered and afraid, clearly, while traveling, people were getting hampered. How were they getting hampered? They were getting hampered because they didn't have their license. Because you either have your license called your freeman papers to be off of the plantation when you run into the slave catchers, or you have your license from slave master that you as a slave have right to go from his plantation and walk across the cornfield over there, and we just gonna go visit Mr. Smith plantation because you have a license. Those are the two ways. Traveling, you're not gonna get hampered, because keep in mind that the whole idea of get out of slavery is to go join some Indian stuff because you look just like the Indians. Instead of being slave on the plantation, Negro, Black, Colored, or U.S. Corporation, how about start not dressing like a slave? Start dressing like Aboriginal Indigenous people. So that way, when slave master sees you, he'll think that you're Aboriginal and Indigenous, which will get you out of any jam that you're in, which is the whole point of what was brought. Because clearly, when traveling, the posterity had a possibility of maybe being hampered and afraid to travel, which is where they are at right now. That these people who claim to be Moors are afraid to travel. And they don't want their own freeman papers. They want Massa's license so they can be a good slave. They can be a good Slavic under the jurisdiction of a foreign corporation in their own land. Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated that it must also be kept in mind that no great movement can take definite shape in 2 or 3 years so as to be error-proof. Prophet Noble Drew Ali further stated, however, through accumulating experience, each annual convention ought to bear witness a more perfect and wider functioning organization representing the organized experience of men and women members throughout the country, and possibly in time the world over. And continuing, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, constructive criticism from sympathetic friends in and outside of our ranks is welcome. That's Noble Drew Ali. To all governors, grand sheiks, and head officials, so don't let them fool you into thinking that they don't know what we got as Moors and the powers that we really have as Moors. Right? Don't be fooled. Because the whole point is either to have you be some passive individual that just sees nationality as, you know, it's written on this card, so I can put the card in my pocket and then that's it. Or be one of these people chasing down, trying to pay every last cent that you have to get the right papers because, you know, that guy didn't work. So then you're going to go to these guys and theirs didn't work. And then you go to these guys and theirs doesn't work. And then by the 5th guy, you should realize that these people are playing you. There's no one kind of paperwork that's going to do anything. It's who's behind the paper that's going to do something. What's the mind that is presenting this paper? Right? Speaking about mind, keep in mind, Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, page 629, spirit, metaphysical, a name for God. Spirit and mind are synonymous. Therefore, we know God, spirit, as mind, the one mind or intelligence of the universe. And keep in mind, one of the 12 basic American principles, spiritual is supreme. That's why you have to call the stuff divine first, because spiritual is supreme. As soon as you forget that, here comes avalanche. Hope you have your little beacon, whatever like that, so they could find you. July 4th, oration by Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, 1821. It was the first solemn declaration by a nation of the only legitimate foundation of civil government. It was the cornerstone of a new fabric destined to cover the surface of the globe. It demolished at a stroke the lawfulness of all governments founded upon conquest. It swept away all the rubbish of accumulated centuries of servitude. It announced in practical form to the world the transcendent truth of the unalienable sovereignty of the people. It proved that the social impact was no figment of the imagination, but a real solid and sacred bond of the social union. It stands and must forever stand alone, a beacon on the summit of the mountain, to which all the inhabitants of the earth may turn their eyes for a genial and saving light, till the time shall be lost in eternity, and this globe itself dissolve, nor leave a wreck behind. It stands forever, a light of admonition to the rulers of men, a light of salvation and redemption to the oppressed, the boundaries of their respective rights and duties founded in laws of nature and nature's God. When you're talking about inalienable rights, they're given by the higher power, born with them. So because you're born with these rights, you cannot become a 14th Amendment citizen. You cannot become Negro, black, whatever. Because if you have inalienable rights, you're Aboriginal and Indigenous to somewhere. Some people exercise these rights thinking that it's rights, but it's really a privilege. Because again, North America is made up of Asiatic states. So if North America is made up of the Asiatic states, then the supreme jurisdiction here must be Asiatics. And then they have grand sheiks, grand governors, grand treasurers, grand secretaries, business leagues, supreme grand councils. It sounds like indigenous government. Really sounds like indigenous government. Sheiks, which are really chiefs on that side, when you do the parallels. Man knew what he was doing. And remember that he wasn't playing political party when he said republic. He wasn't playing part of the Democratic or part of the Republican when he said republic. And don't let Moors fool you. Don't let Moors fool you into thinking, don't let Morris fool you into thinking that he was pro-democracy. Noble Drew Ali was not pro-democracy. He was pro-republic. And not United States of America Republic. Republic before that. United States of America Republic, not that. Not the form of government in the Constitution, Article 4, Section 4. We're talking about a republic that Treaty of Verona was set up to destabilize. The Aboriginal and Indigenous governments all throughout the Americas. It is important to keep in mind the difference between a democracy and a republic as dissimilar forms of government. Understanding the difference is essential to comprehension of the fundamentals involved. It should be noted in passing that use of the word democracy as meaning merely the popular type of government, that is, featuring genuinely free elections by the people periodically, is not helpful in discussing, as here, the difference between alternative and dissimilar forms of a popular government, a democracy versus a republic. This double meaning of democracy, a popular type government in general, as well as a specific form of popular government, needs to be made clear in any discussion or writing regarding this subject for the sake of sound understanding. These two forms of government, democracy and republic, are not only dissimilar but antithetical, reflecting the sharp contrast between A, the majority, unlimited, in a democracy, lacking any legal safeguard of the rights of the individual and the minority, and B, the majority, limited, in a republic under a written constitution safeguarding the rights of the individual and the minority, as we now see. A democracy, the chief characteristic and distinguishing feature of a democracy is rule by omnipotent majority. In a democracy, the individual and any group of individuals composing any minority have no protection against the unlimited power of the majority. It is a case of majority over man. So the chief characteristic of a democracy is when you have a majority that thinks that they're the godsend of whatever. And you are just one of their minions. You have a chance, you put some votes in, whatever like that, pay some taxes, bam, 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 and you feel like you belong to something. When you don't belong to anything, you're part of a slave trade. And, you're the stock. That's just what it is. It was not until 1780 that the first genuine republic, thorough constitutionally limited government was adopted by Massachusetts, the New Hampshire in 1784, other states later. It was in this connection that Jefferson, in his Notes on the State of Virginia, written in 1781 to 1782, protected against such excesses by the Virginia legislature in the years following the Declaration of Independence, saying an elective despotism was not the government we fought for. He also denounced the despotic concentration of power in the Virginia legislature under the so-called quote-unquote Constitution, in reality a mere act of that body. All powers of government, legislative, executive, judiciary, result to the legislative body. The concentrating these in the same hands as precisely the definition of despotic government. It will be no alleviation that these powers will be exercised by a plurality of hands and not by a single one. 173 despots would surely be as oppressive as one. Let those who doubt in turn their eyes on the Republic of Venice. The tyranny of the legislatures is the most formidable dread at present, and will be for long years. That of the executive will come its turn, but it will be at a remote period. Theoretic politicians who have patronized this species of government have erroneously supposed that by reducing mankind to a perfect equality in their political rights, they would at the same time be perfectly equalized and assimilated in their possessions, their opinions, and their passions. Republic. A republic, on the other hand, has a very different purpose and an entirely different form or system of government. Its purpose is to control the majority strictly, as well as others among the people, primarily to protect the individual's God-given, unalienable rights, and therefore the protection of the rights of the minority, of all minorities, and the liberties of people in general. And keep in mind, when you're doing your 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, 1500s research and you see minority, there's not talking about Asiatics. Keep that in mind. That the people who are classified as minority today were not the minority during the slave period. Because they weren't the slaves. They weren't the minority. Which again always goes back to Trading Places, the movie. If you need to go familiarize yourself, please do. Trading Places. By conventions of representatives, freely, fairly, and proportionately chosen, the convention may send out their project of a constitution to the people in their several towns, counties, or districts, and the people may make the acceptance of it their own act. That's why you get a copy of the divine constitution and bylaws for the Moorish Science Temple of America, because it's not really Moorish Science Temple of America, it's really an Asiatic state. That's why every temple is supposed to have their own customs and cultures. Because, you know, the Moors in Texas might, you know what I mean, they might have a cowboy boots dress code. That's what they got there. That's their custom. That you can't wear the spurs in the temple. That their own personal custom, because they're their state. But But you know, if you got that state, you better be rocking the same flag Noble Drew Ali told you is the national flag for the Moors. And the flag goes back to our ancient formulas and forefathers. Right? They're not be playing around with this if you're saying that you're an Asiatic state. Because Drew Ali did bring us government. He did bring us self-autonomy. Self-representation. Self-everything he brought us. Because we have to. Because it's a democracy out there. It's not even the Republican form under the European jurisdiction that's going on right now. Right? The first genuine and soundly founded republic in all history was the one created by the first genuine constitution, which was adopted by the people of Massachusetts in 1780, after being framed for their consideration by a specially chosen constitutional convention. As previously noted, the so-called quote-unquote constitutions adopted by some states in 1776 were mere acts of legislature, not genuine constitutions. The Constitutional Convention of Massachusetts was the first successful one ever held in the world. Although New Hampshire had earlier held one unsuccessfully, it took several years and several successive conventions to produce the New Hampshire Constitution of 1784. Next, in 1787 to 1788, the United States Constitution was framed by the Federal Convention for the people's consideration, and then ratified by the people of the several states through a ratifying convention in each state, specially chosen by them for the sole purpose. Now, the whole reason why we're reading this, not some historical whatever like that, put this in your mind when you read Noble Drew Ali and he says convention, and he says delegates, and he says constitution. The people, republic, all these things that he's saying, is giving a basis of how we're supposed to look at what it is that he brought. Because remember, he made it public record. In the Moors newspaper, not taking out an ad, $300 per page, to put out some ad in colonizer stuff. You have your own stuff. If you have your own paper, why wouldn't you have your own plates? If you have your own paper, why wouldn't you have your own right to travel card? If you have your own paper, why wouldn't you have your own school ID? If you have your own paper, why wouldn't you have your own literature? But again, individuals are posing as being down with Noble Drew Ali, but they're selling you out to the democracy. And they know that's what they're doing. And making up stuff. Like, if, you know what I mean? Like, opposed to, you know what I mean, talk BS about RV Bay publications, right? Opposed to doing that, you know, you dirty Moors should do? Just send an email and let the mother know that you love her, that you have a crush on her. Like, she'll probably just laugh or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, cause the way y'all talk about, and you always bringing her up, and then, you know, we have to watch an hour into your video to hear you say it. But the science is that we close our eyes and pick somewhere in the video, and it's going to be on the part where you clowns are going to say RV Bay Publications did something messed up, or they're selling something or whatever. Right? But it's an hour in, so we know that, you know, you have a show about a topic, and then an hour in, you just, well, RV Bay Publications, let me show you something about them. That's the in the playground, throwing the sand on the girl with the buck teeth that you like. You know that girl that you like. The girl that has the cross eyes. And instead you just go up and tell her that, you know, you don't want to be embarrassed and stupid stuff like that. Just send an email. Just let her know that it's love. That you've been had a crush. Because you guys must have crushed the way that you want to slick talk people hour into your video. I'm not going to get it out in the open. I'm going to talk about some BS first, and then later bring up some stuff. Don't forget to do your research again, you know what I mean? Because people might have gotten lost because so much stuff going on and all that stuff. So remember these people's obligation. Go back to the Federalist Papers and make sure you check out Federalist number 10, dealing with the safeguard against insurrection, which is what's going on right now. That it's really going on right now. We also want to put this one on the record. Had this on Facebook today as the status. When I'm traveling around the country, I use my real Muslim name, Malik Shabazz. I make a hotel reservation under that name, and I always see the same thing. I've just been telling you. I come to the desk and always see that here comes a Negro look. It's kind of reserved, coldly, tolerant, cordially. But when I say Malik Shabazz, their whole attitude changes. They snap to respect. They snap to respect. Now keep in mind all this talk about, you know, Constitution and inalienable rights and peace and all this stuff. When our good brother Malik El Shabazz went to Makkah, during his time there, he realized it's one human family. And he was blown away that Europeans would give up his bed to him. Now, what was the European really saying? Now, keep in mind, this is some high-end European. And this brother who, you know, has this mentality of, you know, he's black, they're white and all that stuff, and he's on the bottom, and so this individual who he thought, you know, had this complex of hate him, hang him on a tree, kill him, whatever, gave him, the quote-unquote nigger, his executive suite so he can sleep. European really doing? Was the European really telling him that, Hiram Abiff, it's glad to see that you're awake. Now that you're awake, now come lie down. Since you got up out of that grave that you were in. That you're black. And I'm white. And I have a superiority complex. And you have an inferiority complex. Ain't no different than Morgan Freeman told Buddy. You stop calling me black, I'm gonna start calling you white. We end racism right now. But of course nobody listened because that's why you listen to him. His name's Morgan Freeman. Y'all don't listen to Moors. You listen to everybody else. When the Moor says something off, you're not gonna listen to him. Man went on the next show. Prime time. I know African, I'm American. The guy from the movies, the Morgan Freeman. Tell these people that you're God, you're Moors, you're not hearing nothing that he's saying. So El Hajj got his clock cleaned by this European who gave him his executive suite. Made this man have to stop like imagine the shift. Keep in mind it's interwoven throughout the whole thing. Remember, Islam to the more that dropped the Booker T. Washington. The Indian got accepted to the hotel. I didn't. And I don't get it because me and the Indian look the same. Like, how come he's getting the pass and I'm not getting the pass? How come I'm looking like the Negro and they're treating him like an Indian? Well, whatever. And then we go to this other town and then you swear that they're gonna lynch somebody or whatever until the guy said, yo, I'm not black. I'm Moroccan. And then everybody was like, oh, sorry, put the pitchfork back. No, just leave the food. Don't even light that torch. Don't even light it. It's not. No barbecue tonight. We didn't get one. Right? Oh yeah, and Islam to the good elder, James Small. So I talked to the elders today, we had a quick conversation. He was in transit or whatever. So he was telling me about they're doing their Malcolm X celebration Friday. 50-something years they've been doing this. I think it's going to be the 52nd year. So any Moors, the Malcolm X Day parade, make sure you go down and rep. Because trust me, James Small repped when he came up here. So, we know about the whole black blah blah, but James Small came up here and repped for the Moors. So, was a call out to all Moors, New York, close to New York, whatever, link up, connect, do whatever it is that we do. You know how we do. Active Moors, you already know how we do, right? Let's make this a go thank Professor Smalls for repping the Moors when he came to so-called Toronto to lecture, because he repped. He didn't shy away. So they're having that, I think Friday they're doing it, and then they go to the gravesite and all that stuff. So it's not even you got a couple days, see if you could work out something. Also, it's long weekend or whatever like that, so if it can't work, wherever you're at, see if there's a little Malcolm X Day thing going on there and just go just because, right? James Small was El Hajj's right hand. He was there. So what he said, which is why I brought him up, and And then again too, you know, cause honors to El Haj, you know what I mean? What he said was that the good brother Malik El Shabazz was always a human rights activist. It got fine-tuned later. But he was always a civil rights activist and denounced civil rights. It's come from James Small himself, who was there. Said that the only reason that you hear Malcolm X attached to civil rights nowadays, and they don't play the human rights perspective when they talk about Malcolm X, they always play the black-white game, is because they wanted to get him in the schools as one of the black whatever. So in order to get him through, they had to say that he was a civil rights guy. And then that became the perspective that people have. When this man was a humanitarian. When he became conscious of who he was, when he read that etymology, realized that he can't be black. It's an adjective. Black. You go and you check and he start teaching about Negro and Necro and all that stuff. Right? He knew what was up. Yeah. Just wanted to also just put out our Moorish West African musicians, you know. The West African musicians. You know West Africa, where the guys who say that they came from in slavery and stuff. West African guys that wearing certain stuff relative to Islam and stuff. We're gonna play like they don't know. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Dane Calloway. So now they're pushing packages. They're pushing black guy packages. What is protection? The protection is a legal matter that enables you to change your identity from property by way of the term African American according to the federal government records, which is not a government, but they're not going there, to national, granting you your full rights nationally and internationally. Once this gets done, they cannot remove you from your home as an illegal immigrant, nor are you ever paying federal taxes to the U.S. anymore. You can literally get what you paid retroed back to you, due to you not aligning yourself as a citizen or person as a classification of race under the color of law. Then they go into this thing about, you know, pay 35 notes or whatever like that, and then you can get the package. Black guys have a nationality package to be a national. Don't be African American, be a black national. Crazy. So we'll hit up some questions, because I don't know what happened with time today. let's see here. Brother Holmes Bay, if you're watching, we got a contact for you. So we're gonna connect you Mars, so you can start getting yourself in order, because now that we know, under that red flag with the green 5-point star, we got Asiatic states. Some stuff to look into, and keep in mind the colony, right? Dun, 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 dun. Don't forget the colony. What else is on here? My experience with grading. Sariel Bay. Greetings, Mars. Seek and thou shalt find. I have recently experienced a situation regarding the grading of my college paper that had serious implications on the likelihood of me graduating this spring semester. Moors, it is always good to be constructive thinkers, but as active Moors, we want to also be action knowledgeable, anticipating the possible reaction of our actions and always conducting your strategies in ways we can utilize tact to complement your moves. For example, for my final paper, I decided to utilize the UCC language, which we use to protect our rights when contracting. Due to structural arrangements of submission, I was not able to copyright my work quick enough, so the UCC was a temporary alternative until further protection could be attained. Prior to the submission, a sound studying of the Zodiac Constitution, I had a conversation with one of my professors, who is also Asiatic, about my topic and about me understanding who I am being Moor. Of course, I was invited to speak more on the subject. Let's be clear, Moors, when you express that you are Moorish, you are saying so much more your nationality, and there is an expectation of authority, high knowledge, royalty, etc. that comes with confirming your pedigree. Don't ever forget and overstand why the universal prophet Noble Drew Ali has charged us all to study, study, study. In saying so, when it was said I did not meet those expectations of the professor with the submission of my paper, alongside possibly locking anyone out from managing or mismanaging my work, the pushback was horrendous, as I was failed and marked not eligible to graduate, all due to me getting too comfortable and demonstrating powers without covering all my bases, which is unexpected behavior of a Moor. Sometimes, more than we want to recognize, we have to go back to the basics and pick ourselves up. Along with the help of Grand Sheikh Kudro, family, and teachings at rvbaypublications.com, I am prepared and equipped with knowledge to work out dealing within a contract, aka syllabus, which my grade was subjected to by this contract. After reviewing the contract and consultation, many loopholes were identified and accounted for. They were also placed on the record. Let's just say I am walking now. I am sharing this with you to remind Moors to be great. And it's not about individualism. It's about what good Moors as a collective can accomplish. The light has always been within Islam. So that was Sariel Bey, right? Having his experience as Moor. Because it is a birthright. It's not a club right. It's not a temple right, a grand sheik right. It's an inalienable right. It's an inalienable right. So don't get too carried away, you know, because of your knowledge, or, you know, you think, oh yeah, you got something or whatever like that. No, it's all good. Seek some counsel before you make your move. I mean, because somebody might put you onto something that you didn't even think about. Now remember, that thing that they put you on, it better be free or whatever like that, reference point. No, they tell me 500, they don't really got nothing for you. Because, you know, opposed to paying the 500, them doing it for you, you know, they should be teaching you how to fish. You know what I mean? You're paying them. You just go cast your own line and you barbecue, you could stew, you could do whatever you want. You're not limited to what this guy wants to go because he pulled it out. Now you have to have it fried. Well, you don't like pork fat, you know what I mean? Fried fish. You know what I mean? Well, it's the only oil they got, the pork oil. You know? So if you don't eat pork, you're gonna learn to fish so you can stew, bake, whatever it is that you want to do with your own fish. Don't let these people play you out your birthright. Brother Muhammad Bey, Peace Grand Sheikh, what are efficient ways to obtain the public servants and acting public officials bond information? Would a Freedom of Information Act form be sufficient? Around where I domicile, I have sent affidavits, but of course they act as if they never receive it. Any tips or advice on more efficient ways to obtain their bond information? Do I have to state a claim to be able to obtain it, or can one just request it for the record and have it in case anything happens? Would going in person be more efficient? Don't go in person. Don't go in person. Whatever you do, don't go in person to go ask them for any bonds or nothing like that. Right? First thing that we have to recognize, that if you're talking about public servants, that means you're talking about municipal jurisdiction, state jurisdiction. If you're talking about state jurisdiction, municipal jurisdiction, province jurisdiction, you know what I mean, federal jurisdiction, and they claim that they're quote-unquote law enforcement, probably they don't have a bond. Probably they're not bonded. Probably you're never going to get that bond number no matter what you ask for, because, you know, not because they're defiant and they don't got one. So you know that you're dealing with criminals. Right? That's why in jurisdictions, like, there's jurisdictions where Moors have the avenue where they do sue these people in their private capacity as an individual and in their capacity of whatever position they were claiming to hold, because they're in breach of trust. Because under the badge, they're saying color of law. Right? But then, you know what I mean, they have an oath that says that, you know, they're supposed to do things a certain way. So, opposed to wanting to get their bond number, hold them to their oaths. Use their oaths against them. Because those they have to sign. The bond, let's just say they do give you a bond number. Right? You might make a claim on that bond number, but that bond number is not on that individual. That bond number is on a department. And, you know what I mean? They just suck that up. That ain't nothing. Because it's the blanket bond. Purpose of the blanket bond is so that nobody can't come after them. Because who you going after? You gotta go after the guy who did something. But you can't go after the guy if he's protected under a blanket bond. But it's a blanket bond. It covers them. Not covers like they're protected with insurance. Covered like hide them. Right? So the thing that you have to really look at is who are you dealing with? Because if you say public servant, right? If you say public servant, you're implying that they take orders. So if they take orders, then that's not the people that you would even be dealing with as far as their bond or whatever. You would have to find who it is bonded them. And more than likely, it's some state agency or whatever like that that they're protected by because, you know, their boys are going to look after them. So that's just how it goes. Because remember, that's their little jurisdiction. Which again is the whole reason why Noble Joe Ali came and drew the line in the sand that we have our own jurisdiction. We're part of the empire. You can't claim corporate if we're claiming empire. Automatically there's no jurisdiction. This is where it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be, you know what I mean? You're having conversation with them about bonds and badge numbers and all that. It's supposed to be going on. It's supposed to be no jurisdiction. Off the bat, nationality card, bam. Well, this is here's a second one, bam. Now you have two pieces of ID, two addresses matching, same picture. That's identification. So you can't tell me that you can't tell me failed to identify now. So now what? Like what's the next step for them? And again, certain people will take the camera and go film yourself talking to a highwayman and let's see right to travel work. Go to the goddamn airport. They'll tell you 2 pieces of ID if you don't have a passport. Once you have 2 pieces of ID, you go state to state to state to state. It doesn't even matter. You don't need a passport. Just show 2 pieces of ID. If you want to go international now, that's a whole different thing. Same thing that we learned here. That highwayman can't say failure to identify if you give him 2 pieces of ID, which is why Moors have their allodial nationality card and then they have allodial right to travel card as their forms of ID. Because, you know, these are the Moors who they trust, you know what I mean? This is who they study from, so they're gonna work with these Moors. And that's the Moors that they've been working with. Everything's cool, they have no issues or nothing like that, you know what I mean? They don't have no problems and stuff like how people are talking that you're gonna have problems if you use this or whatever. Right? These people are private corporations. Private corporations. Private corporations. They're not government. They're not officers. They're not officials. They're not none of that. They're a complete fraud from top to bottom. And because they're a fraud is why you have representative. Or what we call witness. Because your witness is vouching for you. again with these people and getting stuff from them, I mean bonds and stuff like that, what type of interaction are you having with them that it's even there? It's not even supposed to be there. Because never, ever, 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 ever you talk with that guy who stops you. Always call highest in command to be at the scene. Because they're colored, so whatever's going to go down is going to go down. But highest in command should be at the scene. Or be on the radio or something. Because 80% of the time, 80% of the time, superior already knows what's up, and he would tell dude, leave that one alone. Don't give him a ticket. Why not give him a ticket? He's violating the law, Sarge, and all that stuff. Don't give him a ticket. Just don't. You don't need the headache. These guys dressing up and coming up to the court now and have people, you know what I mean, like wanting to know what's going on. Who are these? Like, when royalty get here? They didn't say the royalty's there. Is there a red carpet and stuff like that? Who are these guys? These fezzes on. I haven't seen a fez in 80 years and stuff like that. Because they know the impact that we have. They know how serious it is when they deal with Moors. So, again, like, me personally, I don't engage them people. Any highwaymen that I engage, it's never on some, they're trying to violate. Like, it's never that. Never ever. You know what I mean? And again, like it's not that you might not interact with them or, you know what I mean, whatever. But yo, like these are people. Deal with them like people. Don't deal with them like badge, gun, like nightstick and all that stuff. You deal with them like people, they'll deal with you like people. That's how it works for me. I can't talk for anybody else. Right? Yes, we know that some of these people are violators, supreme violators. We know that. We know they kill people and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But just like the so-called group that rules the world, that's only a few. And those few can get slapped up once these people realize what the hell is up. Right? Renowned royalty. How critical is it to form a written contract while considering working with other Moors? How important is equitable trust while contracting with others? Are Moors being naive when they choose to contract with others and not place something on the record as proof of their business history with whomever they are working with or for? Okay, so let's check some stuff here since we got some time. And that's the last question. All right. Now we know that as Moors get with Moors, there tends to be lax. You know, there tends to be a chill, let your guard down, right? Now, I'm not saying that, you have to have your guard up all the time. I mean, you know, there's some people who, you know what I mean, their spirits that pure that you can let your guard down around them, right? So, contract. A promissory agreement between two or more persons that creates, modifies, or destroys a legal relation. So, regardless of who you're having this doing this work with, or what they say, having a legal relation with, there should be some type of contract. There should be something written, because you know you the only way I would go with unwritten contract is if it's recorded. So this is a verbal contract, but you got a recording of it. Hey, all right, cool. You know what I mean? There it is, right? Because you have to remember that, not that all Moors are dirty or whatever, but all Moors were once Negro black colored, and that detox is real, right? Majority of people, due to just life or whatever, that detox doesn't complete. Like the full Negro, the full black, the full color that they used to be, doesn't fully dissolve, right? There's still little remnants that come up sometimes. So you might do verbal contract with somebody, you know what I mean? Go out of your way, buy the 50, you know what I mean, tons of whatever. Pull up with the truck and dude says, oh, I'm not gonna do it anymore because of a verbal contract. Now you're stuck with, 50 tons of stuff that you don't even know what the hell this stuff is, right? If you had a contract though, now you have remedy because there's something written, right? Because it's important, you know what I mean? Like it's not, dissing because you want to go on contract, and then if they take it as dissing, why would you want to contract with them? If they're gonna say, why you want to do a contract with me? We're Moors and all that type of stuff. I don't know. I'll be looking at them funny. Because it shouldn't be an issue to do a contract with a Moor. Moor should want to do contracts. They should be running. Moor says want to do a contract. Want to do a contract? Yes, I'll do it. Equity. In its broadest and most general signification, this term denotes the spirit and the habit of fairness, justness, and right dealing, which would regulate the intercourse of men with men, the ruling of doing to all others as we desire them to do to us, or as it is expressed by Justinian, to live honestly, to harm nobody, to render to every man his due. It is therefore the synonym of natural right or justice, but in this sense, its obligation is ethical rather than jural, and its discussion belongs to the sphere of moral of morals. It is grounded in the precepts of the conscience, not in any sanction of positive law. So how important is equitable trust while contracting with others? Based on the definition of equity, it's only important if you're dealing with somebody with morals. Because the trust in contracting and holding yourself to a verbal contract with another individual is going to be on that individual. Because as soon as, you know, and again, because you're dealing with people who tomorrow nigger might pop up. And nigger, you know what I mean, used to drink. Nigga said, well, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I know I got this 500 right here that, you know, we got to do this business with, but we go down to the bar and put 200 on some bottles, you know what I mean? It's been a while since, you know what I mean, or whatever like that. You know, just because, you know, well, you know, it's a verbal contract, so, you know, I mean, I'm going to put it back and stuff like that. Just contract. Save yourself the hassle. Save yourself the problems of later kicking your own ass because you knew you should have contracted with them, but you want to give the benefit of the doubt because we're all Moors and all. Don't even play with those ones. I mean, like for example, like because let's say Brother Setenra, right? Because he came to Toronto for Caravana and said, you know what, forget Caravana, I'm going to go check the Moors or whatever like that. I mean, like, I wouldn't feel like I have to contract with him because, you know, the relations is based in morals. You know what I mean? Right? You know, RV Bay Publications is based on morals, why there's a Canaanland Moors section on that website. It's not, you know what I mean, us as put in some application with them to see who can get their stuff up. Right? It's based on morals why we put in the description Moorish Directory or publishinfo.net or morriscivilletter.net. Right? So yeah, if you're dealing with equitable people, equitable trust would be important. It wouldn't even be an issue. There's gonna be equity if you're dealing with the Moors who study and look at this divine and national movement serious. Right? I mean, I wouldn't say Moors are naive. It's just that, you know, we've been so, as Moors, coming into this information, we've been so beat up by our own, by family, by whatever, just because we're saying we're Moors, you know. Our only real, you know, healing is to show others love, right? So, you know, because, you know, that's first principle. So I wouldn't say that Moors are naive. I would just say that it should just be something common. That if you're doing something with Moors, regardless whether you know them 50 years, regardless whether you know them a year, right? There should be something in writing that both the individuals sign, and it shouldn't be an issue to have a contract. You know what I mean? Like if we're Moors, you know, I mean, like I'm saying, you know, I don't think it would have to go that route with regard to certain things, like something grand or whatever. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? You know, me and Settenra, we're putting our name on the paper because, you know what I mean? We gotta have a contract for this, right? You know, but certain things, nah, it ain't necessary once you're dealing with people who are sincere and, you know what I mean, you're on their wavelength, you're on their plane, you know, then it's not going to, contracts, it's not, you know, because even if something goes bad, somebody's going to take the hit, like, you know what I mean? Well, yo, it was my bad. No, it was my bad. No, it was my bad because, no, trust me, I got this, you know what I mean? No, well, you know what I mean? It was my fault because I was supposed to do it's still going to end up being, you know what I mean? Humanitarian, equitable. Even if it goes negative, it's going to be equitable still. And then that would let you really know that, okay, this is somebody that I should be doing some work with, because they're dealing with that. They're dealing with it on those levels, right? So, you know, I'm not saying you have to deal with everybody like that. You know, I'm saying you have to deal with everybody on that level, right? As far as, you know, the morals and whatever, you know what I mean? But if it's serious stuff, yeah, you should have something in writing. Don't not have something in writing and then kick yourself later like, oh, I wish I could have, I should have, right? Last email, Brother Devon L. Islam to all active and honorable Moors. I just want to say, for those who are making attacks against RV Bay publications, saying that they are not a government, no one ever said that they were. RV Bay is an online school where people can go to learn the truth about who they really are. You have people posing as Moors trying to do everything to discredit and cause confusion. You have dirty Moors talking about something called USAR, which I've never heard of. These same people who are attacking RV Bay publications learned they were Moors from RV Bay publications. Isn't that interesting? I learned about my nationality and history from staying on RV Bay publications. Everything that I'm currently doing now is because of what I studied and applied. When something didn't work, I didn't blame RV Bay publications. Everything started with self. We have to stop looking for someone to blame and start holding self accountable. If you have an issue with your brother or sister, go to them directly, but don't make slanderous claims against them. RV Bay Publications is a great resource to have for those who are serious about nationality and birthrights. Islam to all Moors who continue to stay active and who are about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, peace, and love. Right? And that's what it is. You know? This is about birthrights. That's also about birthrights. So Islam Moors, give thanks for your time today. You already know. 9:15 to 9:30 is the call-in time if you want to get in. MHHS Eyes Wide Open Tuesday night. Tonight I'm not going to be on the show tonight. I have an interview with the Moors in Cali, Brother Nehesu and those Moors. Myself, Brother Ramiel. I think somebody else is supposed to be on there. But anyways, you know what I mean? We're gonna, you know, deal with some issues, deal with some stuff, right, that went down. But today, 9:30 p.m. MHHS Eyes Wide Open. 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. And the second number is 347-945-5201. 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. Tune in if you got issues or whatever like that, because we still have people with issues and then they come on, you know what I mean, threads and comment sections complaining about some email never got returned and where's their money order and all this stuff. Call into the show. Don't be chumps. Send an email and then you know that you're going to get the automated reply. You know what I mean? You know you're going to get that when you email RV Bay Publications. You already know you're going to get that. So don't pretend like you're getting avoided and stuff like that. You've been known that when you send the email, that's what you get. Automatic reply, they get back to you when the stuff tells you when they're going to try best to get back to you, inundated with calls and stuff. So there's a call-in show every Tuesday, 9:30. Instead of complaining online and stuff like that, why don't you just call and talk to the people directly? All you have to do is push 1. Don't be scared. It's all right. You know what I mean? You want your stuff so bad. You talk BS online. Why you come on the stuff and talk tough? You know what I mean? Your mother shut you down. Come there talking crazy. So come talk crazy. You know, don't be shy. Bring it. You know what I mean? Get people getting people's elbow around here. Islam to all the boards. We'll close out with our prayer. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam. Audio. What up, killer people? Mechanics. Audio. Goons Q, what up? Mechanics. You know this is long overdue, right? I took the red, never told you take the blue pill. Nowadays rappers dressed like Cisco from Drew Hill. MCs let that fly, now youths are tripping for high. They Lysol, cough syrup, and alcohol mixing. Bath salt sniffing, lighting themselves on fire. The game ain't in me no more like Cuddy, not on the wire. Y'all frontin' like Brother Muzon, getting whooped like Slim Charles. I saw demons behind exec and A and our snarls. Wanting me to compromise, to optimize their train talk brainwash. Been rhyming out the box, won't see me without the locks. Heru Hawks, Moorish Ghostface, killer priests, walking with a swarm of bees. Here comes some borrowed scar, real MCs, bringing drama to you wannabes. No Smith & Wesson, on beats different lessons. It's truth, no discretion. We pulling energy from 7 heavens. Audio mechanics leave an impression. 2 Kushites carrying the rhyme covered in arc, no procession. Thunderclap, rap deafen. Wake you out your slumber, you're under. Audio mechanic legends, the answer, no questions. No statements or minds for containment and camps for concentratement. It's long overdue. Time to wake up from your mental enslavement.